All right, Colts fans, we are back with another Colts film session interview, and this time I'm joined by a draft pick. This time, I don't think I had any of these guys last year, any of the Colts draft picks from 2020. So, getting a 2021 draft pick in here, and Will Fries, offensive tackle out of Penn State, seventh round selection. Started a ton of games at Penn State, which is it's a great honor to start so many games. I know you started at 4 different positions as well. Just how would you sum up that whole career that you had there at Penn State?
Yeah, kind of like you said, played all over the place. So it's versatile is probably a go-to a catchphrase word that you would go to. But I really just that didn't matter to me at the end of the day. Just liked helping the team. Wherever I could fill in, no matter the position. Whether it was earlier in my career and guys getting banged up and had to move over to left tackle or get my first start at left guard. That never mattered to me. I was just always happy to be on the field. Play with those guys and. Yeah, it was just a good ride overall. Love playing all those whiteouts and playing other Big Ten schools. Iowa and Ohio State. Tough places to play, but it was a great journey. Along the way.
Yeah, and talking about the Big Ten, I think you started 40 plus games in your college career, so you have tons of experience, and you did it in a conference that is just known for producing NFL pass rushers. Chase Young, AJ Epinesa. Chauncey Golson was pretty darn good. Kwity Paye, who the Colts just drafted. I mean, just tons of guys. Josh Uche, Adrian Hutchinson, tons of guys that you had to study, you had to get ready for. And playing on right tackle, you had to face all those guys. Do you feel like going through that gauntlet of players kind of helped you prepare for the NFL?
Yeah, I think so. I think kind of like you summed it up pretty well. You see, first or second or top tier rusher every single week, and it's kind of the norm in the NFL. Week in and week out, you're seeing the best of the best, and I think that going through the Big Ten, seeing all those guys, it really did prepare you because there's not just one type of rusher. You get a variety of different types of players, so it keeps you on your A game when you're studying. And it doesn't matter how you did last week; it just really matters about the next game, next play, that sort of thing. So yeah, it was. It definitely helped me develop, studying all those guys, and going to be seeing a lot more of them.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see a lot of those guys. You'll see a lot of them in practice, actually, these next couple of days. So yeah, it's going to be it's a great thing that you have that experience under your belt, especially again playing all those different positions. You even played some of the top defensive line, like interior defensive linemen. Before we get into the film, though, it's something that you and I have talked about the last couple of days before leading up to this. You worked with Paul Alexander. In throughout your college career, plenty of times. Paul Alexander, legendary offensive line coach in the NFL. I believe he coached for like 30-something years, mostly with the Bengals when they had those dominant offenses in the early 2000s with Corey Dillon. Just great offensive line coach and very knowledgeable guy. What have you kind of learned from working hands-on with a legendary coach like Paul Alexander?
Yeah, it's always awesome when you get the opportunity, first and foremost to work with a guy like Coach Alexander, just the wisdom and knowledge he has of playing in all those games or coaching all those games and coaching some of the best pass protectors ever. It's something really interesting. When you get the opportunity, go and do that yourself. Working with him, we spent a lot of time breaking down rushers, how to read their pass rush moves, what to expect, certain situations, how they did against certain tackles, what techniques they used, what worked, what didn't work. That was a lot of it. That really helped me, when I was, preparing for games, studying, using those, notes to, chart those guys, different moves, what was their go-to, what was going to be, their backup move, what's, a move they don't use that often, but you still have to be ready for. So that sort of thing. The second thing is, just going out and doing drills with them, learning how to, trust your body, move in pass protection, those are some of the things I learned working with him. Really awesome. Like I said, working with him, he's a great coach.
Yeah. So did he get you that leverage mindset? Because he's a big leverage guy. He's always been a big leverage guy. He's kind of like you said. I think you said he's a black belt teacher or whatever at offensive line.
At pass protection. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's so great at incorporating kind of like wrestling technique and also fighting techniques or whatever for offensive linemen to be those leverage type of guys. Did you kind of learn so much about certain angles and footwork that you need to do as an offensive tackle?
Yeah, I think you kind of summed it up. The way you use your hands, the way he teaches it, a lot of high hand, low hand. You're going to get a rip move where to place your inside hand on the hip to run him by. Where to position your face if he's an up the field rusher. All those things come down to it. Every detail matters. Every inch of space that you have matters. And like you said, it's all leverage and technique.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to jump into some film here. We're going to see a lot of that leverage and technique on display. And I think your film definitely speaks for itself when it comes to that. I mean, again, starting 40-something games at Penn State, you have to at least know what you're doing a little bit on the field. So starting with this first one, I believe this is against, I want to say this is Memphis. Yeah, that's Austin Hall. So this is Memphis. Yeah. And I slowed this one down because I really wanted to focus on one, that kick step that you have right there. Very powerful, very quick getting out there. And did you feel like that was something that you really had to work on, is getting that quick first step there to be an effective tackle? Because, I'm not saying you're not a great athlete or any means, but you don't have like that Penei Sewell type of elite tier athleticism. You have really good athleticism, but, was getting that kick step and getting out there quicker a big part of helping your game kind of mitigate anything?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I really focused on, that helped me, be a successful tackle is, timing up that snap. You see a lot of, pros do it. It's, one of the most important things when you're, coming to the next level, and something I learned just studying, tape in college. You see guys like Bakhtiari and, Blug with the Packers, they were really big on, timing up that snap count. That's, really where I noticed it when I was, trying to add it to my game, and felt like that was important, getting out, beating them to, the quote unquote spot, and having an upper hand when it comes to the rush at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And then getting to your hand usage here, and I think a big thing that people don't understand about offensive tackle play, offensive line, like interior offensive line play is a little different, but offensive tackle play, I feel like people are taught when they're little kids that you want to have your hands inside like this. It's always hands inside. But offensive tackle, you can't really do that, or you're just going to get your hands broken. They're going to go by you. So, you're striking right here. People might think this is a little outside, but this is where you kind of want to be aiming, right? Kind of outside the shoulders. You want to kind of get underneath that like armpit area, right?
Yeah, I think that, when you're kind of on this sort of angle and you see he's like, upfield rush, if you almost, going to punch two hands, across his chest, I'm not really in a great position there. In this rep in particular, kind of have a little hand fight there, and I think I re-leverage it to his hip and try and push him off his hoop at the top of the rush there, and run him by.
Yeah, I love the quick repositioning though. You do that hand fighting and then getting that hand down to the hip there, like that's a very technique driven. That's something that you really have to work on, right? Because like when you're coming out of high school, you're just used to just bullying guys. But when you're kind of learning in college, like how much you have to work on just that technique of punching and then getting, when the guy's coming around the arc, you have to get that hand to the spot and run him out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a never-ending process. I mean, that's, a rush you're going to see, so many times during the season. There's always ways you can get better at it. Kind of like you said, the reposition, is really important because, so many guys are so good with their hands now that it's not going to be a one punch and it's going to be over. It's, going to be a multiple re-leverage, and reposition. At the end of the day, whoever has the better, hand leverage is going to win that rep.
Absolutely. And then this next one here, you're just dominating the guy up front there. A couple of these, I just love throwing in ones where it's just dominating the guy. And this one is just exactly that. How big is that part of playing offensive line? And, offensive linemen talk about this all the time. The body blows do matter. But how big is just finishing blocks and putting guys in the ground?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. But, body blows do matter. I mean, you can, look up countless guys that have, said it and, emphasized it. And, that's something I take a lot of pride in. When you get a guy and you can, wash him down the line like that and, finish on top of him, they don't like that. And, they're at the end of the day, the more times you can do that, you're going to start winning the upper hand, throughout the game and, with your individual matchup there.
Absolutely. And this is another one too, where the hand placement is not going to be that inside, that inside placement that you're taught when you're a little kid, because you're going to want to get your hand to the outside here, the shoulder, and you're going to pin him inside. This is just great technique here. And you kind of have to trust in your own ability to have that torque to pull the guy out of that gap there, right?
Yeah, I mean that's why you spend all those hours in the weight room. It's the combination of using that leverage and trusting my hands are going to be in the right spot, and really just working hard in the weight room and trying to get stronger and bigger every day, because at this next level everyone's big and strong, so gotta be on par with that and the technique.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen the Colts have kind of listed you after the draft and on their team site even right now as a guard. Obviously, you can play some tackle, you can play some guard. You played it all. But do you think that showing this kind of ability is going to help you with that transition? Obviously, playing at those positions also helps, but your ability between the tackles and able to drive guys out, you think that kind of is what NFL teams saw when they want to play you at guard?
Yeah, I think so. I think that kind of like I was alluding to before, I take a lot of pride being physical and having those body blows, and I think that that maybe that's more prototypical for a guard. Less space, you gotta knock people off the ball right now. Yeah, I would say that's definitely a reason.
Awesome. Here, I think this is Buffalo, I believe. I don't know if this is Malcolm Kuntz. I'm not sure if he's 52.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember. I know he went pretty high though. I think he went third round in this draft. So this is him.
He was a good player.
So we'll call it him just to make it seem like it's even better.
I appreciate
that. So how do you like to counter inside rush moves? Because a big thing with pass blocking is you'd be more willing to give up the outside lane because it's a harder path to get to the quarterback. So when a guy is able to win inside, how are you able to quickly adjust? I mean, this one you do a great job getting your hands inside, but is this your typical way that you like to readjust when a guy is able to get that inside position on you?
Yeah, so I think it starts, like we were saying before, getting off in the snap of the ball. I'm in a good position here, in between my man and the quarterback, and he thinks he has a quicker lane inside, maybe with a little bit deeper set there. But beating him to that spot, making him choose, kind of helps me out, dictate my rush, and probably saw some things, maybe through film study, if I beat him to the spot, he's going to try and take that inside. But yeah, I think that's pretty standard. Is you have a huge upper hand, in the pass set when you can beat him to that spot, and you're kind of sitting there waiting for him to make his move, and just from there you can be patient and react to what he wants to do.
So have you seen a lot of kind of how the Colts use their offensive line and their pass sets at offensive tackle? Like it's like they use like the Howard Mudd method. Have you studied at all like the Howard Mudd method of aggressive pass sets?
Yeah, obviously a really famous coach. He's awesome, and I think it's a tremendous technique, and something I'm looking forward to adding to my toolbox and becoming efficient at. Is you see when they get those more aggressive sets and make a huge wide dish pocket, and is really helpful for the quarterback.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's done it. It's funny. I was, before his influence kind of came to the Colts with Chris Strasser, and when he came to coach that one year, I was a big vertical set type of guy. I always liked vertical sets, maybe not complete vertical where it's like the step backwards, but kind of like the more deeper set. But his way, I just love the way that he kind of coaches it, is that go get the guy. Pass sets don't have to be passive. What do you kind of feel about that mindset of pass sets don't have to be passive?
Yeah, I think when it's a really good mindset when you can go and get on a guy and take away what he wants to do before he even has a chance to react. It's the quickest way to stop a rusher. Then he's going to a second or third move, which isn't as successful as his first one typically, and you can go out there mess with him and just get on him and fight the battle out away from the quarterback. You have a huge a much higher success rate with your pass protection.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess the thing with Howard Mudd that I always ask offensive linemen, like, oh, do you want to do aggressive sets all the time? And they always look at me like I'm crazy. I guess they haven't studied Howard Mudd. I don't know. But I always talk to offensive linemen and they tell me they like to do aggressive sets, maybe more against speed guys or more against power rush guys, and then the other one against the other type of guy. Did you kind of have a preference in college? Like, if this is a power guy, I want to get on him quick to take away his buildup, or if this is a speed guy, I want to get on him quick because then he can't bend around me. Like, did you kind of have a preference for different types of rushers?
Yeah, I think in general, speaking generalities, those power guys, like to build up speed and prefer when a tackle sets deeper on them because they have more momentum,
Yeah.
more power, and closer to the quarterback at that point. So I think getting on a power guy quicker is you have a higher chance of success there. With those speed guys, they can do a lot of things, quickly inside. Or, quickly outside if your feet aren't right. So maybe more of a traditional set for a speed guy. That's probably my preference.
Awesome. Awesome. And then getting to this next one, this actually, I think these next two clips go together. I made a joke on Twitter the other day about how good you are with combo blocks. Like, and with your last name, I feel like we need to come up with something clever, like a combo with fries or something like that. But I feel like we can come up with something really good there. But honestly, watching your film, that's the biggest thing that stands up is whenever there's a combo block or you guys have a duo type of run, you're paving the way with your right guard here. You guys are almost always paving the way. This is against Naquan Jones right here, who's a really good defensive tackle,
Yep.
Michigan State. So what's the key to being so good on these combo blocks? Because I think I can run the next clip here because I think the next one is also a combo block. What's the key for you in college?
Yeah, I think number one is you got to trust the guy playing next to you that he's going to be in the right spot. Use his technique to kind of set up that block for you. And I think in both these clips you see that. In that first one he has to get off a little bit quicker. Probably studying Michigan State. Typically they're downhill linebackers. They're going to fill those gaps quick. Whether it's straight pressure or maybe some sort of cross dogs or something like that. We knew those combos were going to be quick, so I'm coming down, full speed ahead. Kind of like we were saying before, the pass pro, leverage is huge. You got to be able to, get under his pads and, run your feet. And, this is a great opportunity, to, kind of a tone setting play where, you can just go out there and, be physical and, open a hole for a great running back.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you excited? Because I know you've seen a little bit of the Colts playbook. I'm obviously not going to ask you about the Colts playbook, but from my own film study of the Colts playbook last year and their type of offense, there's so many duo runs and there's so many different types of duo runs with tight ends, with tackles and guards. Are you just excited for all the duo runs that you guys are going to do this year?
Yeah, anytime you can go be physical and get a double team and try and push that guy back into the linebacker, it's going to be a good day. It sets the tone. It's all those good things, those body blows that you want when going throughout the course of a game.
Awesome. Now, this one is the one I really want to talk about with you because this is something I don't see from many college guys. And I actually had to slow it up because I was shocked by what it was. I'm hoping it's not coincidence. That's actually something that you worked on. But you did a Hamilton move right here. And I don't think I really see many tackles do it. Was this intentional or did you just kind of catch his arms and push them up?
Yeah, so it is intentional. I learned it from Mitch Schwartz, studying film.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I tried to add it in 2 years ago, my junior year, and I just worked on it. I felt like that was the best way to counter long arm moves. So there was guys, Ryan Bates, played with a couple years ago, and he was a big chopper. Something that I've tried before, but I just really fell in love with this move. I think that it's the best way to stop a long arm rush. They just completely stop their rush. They lose their momentum, their speed, and they a lot of times when you don't see it, they don't know where to go to next, and you win the rush. But yeah, very intentional move, something that I practiced a ton. Like I said, learned it from Mitch Schwartz, and it was cool to see him talk about it on Twitter and stuff. Him really breaking it down. So yeah, I love didn't know what it was called. I didn't know it was called the Hamilton. I just thought it was the best way to stop the long arm, but kind of cool to see it now.
Yeah, I think I learned it from I was watching some kind of O-line coaching clinic, and I was like, okay, cool. I've seen that before from NFL guys. I didn't know it was called a Hamilton. And then I saw him talking about it, and then I started watching your film. I was like, oh, there it is right there. So you actually learned it from him? Did you had conversations with him regarding this? Or just
I never had a conversation with him.
Okay.
Off-season studies, things like that. I just like studying, other players, see what works for them. And, was watching Chiefs film and saw him use it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm gonna try this out and try to add it to my toolbox, and ended up falling in love with it as a great combative element to the long arm.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a lot of things that NFL guys do that a lot of college guys aren't able to do right away. There's that. There's the snatch and trap. There's like the slingshot one, which is insanely hard.
Yeah.
When you're watching NFL film and you see guys do that kind of stuff and you try to imitate it, like just how hard is it to kind of incorporate this into your game? Like how much practice rep and just work on it does it take?
Yeah, it takes a ton of practice. I've always been a guy that prides myself on working until I figure it out. That's kind of what happened with this move. There's some things that I've tried that I just didn't like and took it out. Kind of just depends on your preference. But this is one of the things that I really like. Worked really hard at, and it paid off, and I'm going to continue to keep using it.
Yeah. So I had to throw this clip in here because you're going against one of your teammates in Kwity Paye. Really good job of standing him up there after the bull rush. What was the preparation like for Kwity Paye? I don't want to ask you about specifics on his game because I know there's some things you can't talk about, obviously, with your teammates and stuff. But just what was the preparation like, knowing that you had to line up against a guy like Kwity Paye, and what kind of rusher you were facing?
Yeah, with Kwity, I think he's a guy that can do a lot of things really well, whether it's speed, power, his quickness inside. So he's one of those guys where you have to be ready for everything. Studying his tape, you knew you were in for a hell of a week going against him. Great player. Getting to meet him the past couple of days, really great guy too. Can't say enough good things about him, and yeah, but he was a tough one to prepare for.
So when you're going against a guy like Kwity, where I'm not saying this is necessarily his game, but a lot of that scheme of what Michigan wanted their rushers to do was kind of barrel in on you and get those bull rushes on you. Do you have to go into that game with that mindset of like, I have to get my anchor ready, I have to be able to counter these bull rushes because they're going to be coming at me with them?
Oh, definitely. I think the way that Michigan, typically like to play, a lot of man-to-man. They wanted their rushers to win. They were, my guy's gonna be better than your guy, sort of thing. You knew you have to be ready for everything, and really, protect. As long as it takes. Doesn't matter. How long the quarterback holds the ball. You gotta, be ready for the whole ordeal and multiple moves.
Yeah, they're tough, man. Because with them, you had especially in this game. This is 2019. One play would be Kwity Paye. The next one would be Josh Uche. The next one would be, I think, Adrian Hutcherson's his name. And then, the year before that, I believe, was Trace Winovich, or maybe even this year as well. Going against a team like that had to have helped you just in this whole process because it's, NFL rusher after NFL rusher every single play, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying, with Kwity, it's, you got to prepare for everyone. You're going to get, a different guy every time. You got to be ready for their moves, and that preparation, helped me going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is against Pitt, I believe. I wanted to highlight this one here because I'm curious. So I'll be honest, people watching, I obviously did not play offensive line at the college level. I'm a little smaller than than what is required. So there are some things, obviously, I'm still trying to learn. I watched a lot of Paul Alexander and Howard Mudd stuff here. But I'm curious about the hands here, what the hand technique here. So you have your hands kind of ready here, and then you you kind of get them out wide, and then you're able to run them out of the arc here. So what's kind of the technique and process here on this blocking, on this play?
Yeah, I think, I drop my hands because I see them, winding up sort of for, some sort of, jump scissors move or, outside hand swat variation. I can see, kind of his whole body and, the way he, winds up those hands. And for me, that's just pull my hands away, let him, throw his move, and then, just get my hands on him and run him by.
Awesome. So that's kind of a big, I don't want to, it's obviously not a guessing game because you do your film study, you study these guys and you know what they like to do. But how much is that mind game of like, okay, I think this guy, I'm pretty sure this guy's going to go with like a cross chop here. You can't guess wrong because then he can long arm you and run you into your quarterback. Just how big is that mental game of film study and knowing your opponent and and even throughout the course of a game, knowing how they like to attack you. How big is that for an offensive tackle?
Yeah, I chart all the moves when I'm watching a rusher, see what his go-to is, situationally too. I don't remember particularly for this guy, but he probably had side scissors or as one of his top moves, and just when I line up for the snap, try to just be more reactionary, but throughout the week when you're going against the scout team guys, telling them to work on it, and when you get to the game, it's just natural to kind of pull your hands away, reposition them in a position to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this one I wanted to show mainly because I feel like there was like a weird rep in the draft process about you not being the greatest athlete or anything like that. But every time I saw you had to move laterally, I mean, we saw it in all the past pro clips. But every time that they had you to do plays like this, I mean, you look perfectly fine to me. Like, did throughout the draft process, were you ever thinking like, no, that's not right? Like you were looking at scouting report stuff and being like, no, that's not me. What are they watching?
I try not to, pay attention to those things, the good or the bad. Try to stay focused on, my game and, what I need to improve upon and, what I need to use to my advantage. It's just kind of funny when you see those things, though. Sometimes you can't just help but see it. Is what it is. Try not to pay attention, like I said, but,
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. It's tough. It's tough. Like, honestly, even me as a writer, like, I get comments on all my stuff and people being like, I'll write this whole thing that's like 1,500 words and with like 20 film clips in it breaking down what happened. And someone's like, no, that's not what happened. It's like, what are you talking about? I just showed you. So it's hard to kind of filter that out. But I was just curious because it's always stuff that it's always funny. Like I've talked with a lot of draft prospects and stuff, and we always joke about their scouting reports, and it's like what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I get that. It's sometimes you can't help but see it, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. A little motivation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Darius Leonard's the best at that. He likes every single tweet that says something bad about him, so you can, you can get that there. But we're gonna finish this off with you just driving this linebacker into the ground. Even after your guys on the ground, I mean, just finishing those plays, finishing those blocks. Have you talked with the coaches or I guess talked with anybody with the Colts being like, where they've said like your mindset's going to fit in perfectly with this offensive line because this is what the Colts offensive line is known for.
Yeah, I think hopefully that's what a reason why they drafted me and I was able to help and improve the room with a mindset like that. Obviously have a long way to go and able to learn from a lot of really good players in that room. You played a lot of football at a high level. But hopefully I'm on the right track and can help add to the room in a good way.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. My computer sometimes when I switch back from the share screen. So we're good. All right. So yeah, no, I love breaking down the film with players like this. And, your film was something that really caught my eye. I mean, I was joking around after the Colts draft you being like, oh, a guy who I thought should have gone the 4th round or something like that went all the way in the 7th. Do you kind of feel like a little bit like, I don't know, do you have that chip on your shoulder because you went in the 7th round? Because I know the Colts are big on that. They have a lot of guys who are undrafted free agents, Kenny Moore, George Odom, a lot of late round picks, Grover Stewart, Mark Lewinsky was a late round pick. Do you guys, it's kind of that era that we have in the locker room, but do you feel like, you kind of have that chip on your shoulder for going as late as you did?
Yeah. I don't really know if I think about it like that, definitely, have to, work really hard no matter what. I've kind of just always been a guy that's been about the process. I really enjoy, the process of, chipping away at something, getting better every single day, getting 1% better every single day, I really just kind of learned to, enjoy the process. That's always been my thing. I know I have a long way to go and, I'm just looking forward to, getting better. And that's kind of just been my mindset.
Perfect. So I have a couple fan questions. I filtered out ones that were, about your last name because most of them were about your last name. About nicknames you had with your last name and what the best burger joints are. Maybe we'll get to those next time. You can go answer them on my Twitter page or something. I don't know. I cut them out. I picked a couple ones here. And I think that I can even run them on the bottom. Yeah, so I can even run them on the bottom, but I'll read them out. How often was Will in contact with Indy in the pre-draft process? And did you feel like you made any connections that were strong with anyone on the coaching staff or scouting department before the draft? And I think DeMaurice Smith is the scout up there, right? Am I wrong with that?
Mike DeReese was
Mike DeReese. That's who it is. That's what I'm going to say. Mike DeReese.
Had a lot of really good conversations with him. He was a really awesome guy, and I was happy to get to know him. Had a couple conversations with a couple different people throughout the organization. Felt like they went well, and like I said, I had a really good conversation with Mike DeReese. Though he's an awesome guy.
He's great. He finds a lot of dudes up there, man, in that area. Isaiah Rogers was there, Rocky Sin, ton of players from there. So I'm glad you were one of them that he was able to get down here. This one here from @Custis Family, ask him what he knows about Strasser and his blocking techniques and how they differ from what he did at Penn State. So basically, it's like the Howard Mudd stuff that we were talking about. How does like the Howard Mudd always aggressive like angle sets and jump sets differ from kind of what you guys did at Penn State?
Yeah, was able to watch Coach Strasser's cool clinic and kind of see the way he teaches, and obviously getting to work with him the past couple of days. To learn his techniques. A lot of the run blocking stuff. Similar to what we did at Penn State. Like all those techniques a lot, and look forward to keep using them. Really at Penn State, the only thing we did a little bit different was we vertical setted sometimes, and other than that, football's football. There's a lot of different ways to win, a lot of different techniques you can use, but that's what I'd say for that.
Which cool clinic did you watch? I have a couple of Strasser's. I have was it the technique one that he has back from Boise, or was it?
Yeah, it was when he was at Boise State. I found it on YouTube.
Yep. That's the one that's on YouTube. I have a couple. I bought a couple of his because I'm just a degenerate like that. I bought a couple of his. I bought his like how to run a screen game and inside zone runs, which is pretty good. Awesome. He's got a couple, man. He's a good speaker. I think he did a good job in that one that's on YouTube.
It's been awesome working with him so far. Super
smart guy. I mean, he's kind of like Paul Alexander, where it's like I think he has like 40 years of experience as well. I mean, mostly at the college level, but experience when it comes to this stuff. Yeah. So this is a big one I've always wanted to ask a Penn State guy. So I'm glad at Fan of Nuance, Brent asked this. And why is everyone that comes out of Penn State so athletic or good at combine drills? It's something that we've seen for a long time. You guys are all athletic freaks that come out of Penn State. Like what's in the water there?
Yeah, I mean, going through the past couple of years, I mean, some of the guys I've seen have just been just ridiculously athletic, but it's not without a lot of hard work too. Guys like Mike Gesicki, when I was younger, learned from him. Obviously, Saquon and Micah and, Jason, all these guys are just, freak athletes, but, incredibly hard workers too. Got to give a lot of credit to, Coach Deej, Coach Losi, Coach Earls, all those guys that, I worked with at Penn State, pushing me, every single day, not settling for anything mediocre. Those guys are awesome, coach some, the best athletes, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the second part of this question was, what did Rob Windsor tell you about being a Colts rookie? Like, have you and Rob reconnected at all since you got drafted?
Yeah, talked to him, the day after I was drafted, just give me the lay of the land, and, just give me, advice, work hard, as a rookie, you should put your head down, go to work and, try and learn from the older guys. But, he's been a great resource, since I've, been in Indy.
Awesome. Well, hey man, I appreciate you taking the time today. I know Colts fans are going to love being able to kind of get to know your film and get to be able to know you from breaking down your film and kind of your technique and stuff. But, you're obviously in for a big training camp fight here. Regardless what happens, good luck with it. I know a lot of people have been throwing out the Joe Haig conversation with you because your ability to play guard and tackle, and that's a name that's loved around here. So I feel like you're on a good track with Colts fans already. But hey, man, good luck throughout all this whole process, and definitely kill it here in the preseason and everything.
All right, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.